Hey! What's going on, you guys? Welcome to Girlies' podcast, episode 4. As you could tell, something's changed a little bit.
We're not in my room.
I have a new look.
Oh.
I have a new look going on.
Uh-huh.
And it's October.
When did you get here?
When did you? And we have a guest. This is Miss Skyler. No.
I love how delayed that was.
I don't know what you're talking about. She's slaying.
Perfect timing. Maybe we should. I told you we should have fixed that in rehearsal.
Oh.
Anyway. She's our resident Halloween expert. So we figured that throughout the month of October, we'll be doing almost every episode with her.
Yeah.
Because we
This-
love spooky season.
This is my Super Bowl. I'm finally normal this month. Everyone's like, oh, in the Halloween spirit. And I'm like, I've been ready since November of last year.
We're the
Like
weirdos,
November.
Mr. Careful of the weirdo. Little craft reference. You're
Mm.
welcome.
Yeah, no, that was
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Okay, I'm glad.
No, I also feel very at home during this season because we're coming up on Scorpio season.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Way to out yourself.
I was just
Yeah.
going to say,
Sorry.
that's going to be divisive in the comments.
yeah,
I'm actually gonna cut that out.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna go. It's actually bleep season,
It's bleep season.
and they're gonna have to guess between Libra and Scorpio.
It's the season of the
I
witch.
think they'll know.
I'm cutting that out.
It's the season of the witch.
the most.
So we figured to start off the month, one of our favorite things to do is watch. Well, one of the reasons actually we all bonded, I was telling Callie that I got a little Snapchat memory for two years ago.
Yeah.
And it was me making that
The
little
pie.
vegetable. Yeah.
I
the
have
little-
a picture of it.
You have a picture?
I do. I have a little picture of the
You
pie.
have the picture of the pie? I
'Cause he
made.
was
Oh my
so
God,
cute.
send that to
we
me. I
were
will.
trying to get all of the all of our friends together. Callie and I were like, come on, we know all these girls, I know they want to be our friends because we want to be theirs, let's make it happen.
It was really like the first true Girlies night.
Yes.
Stop.
Yeah, like Halloween started and we were like, we have an excuse now, like we have a reason to, because Christmas is a little intimate, but Halloween is like, come on guys, let's just come over and watch a scary
Halloween's
movie.
intimate to me.
Oh, we'll get into that.
Well, Christmas is very family centered.
We're not
Halloween,
talking about Christmas in this episode, actually. I veto it.
Actually Christmas
Oh.
doesn't exist. What am I?
Unless we're
Christmas?
talking about the upcoming Terrifier 3, which is a Christmas movie.
But I made a vegetable pot pie because Callie's vegetarian. And
outing her again.
yeah,
I know. Oh my God.
now they know how her weakness, meat.
Meat is not my weakness. I just think it's gross.
That's a weakness,
Meat
babe.
is a weakness to her. Anyway,
Yeah.
and I cut a
most things
jack-o'-lantern in it.
It's gorgeous.
So it looked like a jack-o'-lantern
Yep.
pie. And there is my story. And then
Yeah,
the
it's gorgeous.
girlies continued to exist and blossom.
I basically started living with you guys.
Yeah, she
I was
doesn't
like-
live here, but she does.
I was like, oh, they love Halloween. They made a whole pie. I'm going to like them. And now I'm going to loiter.
Were you into Halloween as much when we first started doing that? Because, we just recently talked about
Ooh.
how Elijah kind of
Mhm.
opened you up.
Well, I was gonna ask you guys the question about Halloween, which was, do you think you're final girl material?
Yes.
Callie?
Yeah.
Someone brings a hatchet to the party, it's over for you bitches.
I would be the person that just dips out at the beginning of the movie and you wouldn't see me the rest of the movie. I'd be like, nope. I'd nope out of there so fast.
So here's the thing. I've thought about this extensively. I
We could be wrong.
don't think I'm final girl material. I've been told otherwise, which is my favorite compliment I've ever gotten. I think I'm the plucky comedy relief that everyone's really sad gets killed in the 9th hour.
Yeah.
No, I see that.
And then you go scream mode and you get stuck up in a garage
Oh,
door.
I have the best death for sure.
Yeah.
It's
that was the
iconic.
best one.
And I'm the hottest
You're
one.
you're the one that gets like TikToked and they'll add
Very
edits.
that.
Yeah. And,
No,
everyone,
there's-
and you're like alive in everybody's headcanon.
Yeah. I think that's me. Or I'm the killer. So.
Oh. Okay. Or you're the killer. We didn't think that was going to be an option among us, but I love that you're bringing new things to the table. So I think I'm nothing in Final Girl material.
Why?
Because I'll stop at nothing. But I
Whoa.
feel like it
That's
takes
true.
more than that.
I don't have the willpower to, you know.
But what about?
If there's
In-
other people in danger, I'm like, yeah, I will survive.
But what if?
And maybe just honestly out of pure spite, I would.
That's how I feel about it. Out of pure spite, I think I
If
could
you've
get
wronged
through it.
me,
You know, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
ugh.
She just kept going. She was sitting at that table crying, and I was like, "Oh, I wouldn't let those men win." But
Yeah.
you have plenty of research here. Are you going to be
Oh,
able to
yeah.
tell us whether or not?
Yeah, tell us about Final Girls and tell
Put
us
us in our
about horror
place.
movies. Because we've seen them, but we've only seen them.
So this kind of goes into like just horror and women in general and how they connect.
Mm-hmm.
Final Girl is like a huge trope. It was started a while back, but like the most integral Final Girl, in my opinion, that like really changed the genre is the Final Girl in Texas Chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
So how that connects to women in horror, the whole like horror genre is really one of the only ones, in my opinion, that explores gender and sexism in general, like in depth, because it's horrifying. Like both of those are scary. And so regarding like the Final Girl, power and agency is a huge thing with especially women in horror films. And so especially when it's regarding a woman's sexuality, that's I feel is the most powerful in horror movies, whether it's like criminalized or celebrated, because when you're the final girl, the fact that it's being talked about at all, and especially in a genre made to scare people, is super powerful. But I love this quote by Kelly Gredner, who's a film critic. Horror is a place where women can scream their loudest into the void and finally be heard.
It's cute.
I feel very
I
feel very seen as well. I feel like a lot of women I know could survive horror movies.
Yeah.
I know a lot of women too who have survived horrible
Real
just
life horror
moments in their
movies.
lives. Exactly. So it's kind of incredible. And I mean, are you kidding me? That girl from Texas Chainsaw, I don't know her name, but she did that in white jeans. And I think about that on a daily basis.
That's so real.
Long blonde hair, white jeans.
Yeah, true.
She's who I want to be, but I hate jeans.
That's what I'm saying. And she didn't, you know?
Yeah.
She freaking zipped up her zipper and she got to it. And she said, I
Yeah.
don't care if they get dirty.
I think
I want to live.
I think a lot of women probably feel seen by the horror genre too, is because it actually shows how how good a lot of women are at just sticking to it, at like being surviving, at the words on the tip of my tongue, but just like that they just keep going. Like
Mhm.
you just have a lot of tolerance, and in a way, like it's like pain tolerance, but it's mostly like it's like that idea of like you just keep pushing forward, you just keep going,
Mhm.
you just keep
Resilience.
fighting.
Perseverance.
Resilience. That's I think that a lot of women are seen by that resilience, and like that quote says, it's like women are able to scream into the void and be heard, and it's
Yeah.
like very cathartic. Like the
Yes.
Jenna Ortega scream that people talk about
Yeah.
is like she just lets it all out.
No, it's like the phenomenon kind of semi-recently of like female rage, because it's finally being represented, at least much more in media. Like Texas Chainsaw is from 1975, and the final scene, spoilers, but you should have seen it by now. Idiot.
I've
I
only
saw it
seen.
for the
I've
first
actually.
time last year.
I've actually only seen the ending.
That's we'll put a bit in that.
We'll put a knife in that.
The way it's so short too.
Well, I accidentally walked into my siblings watching it and watched the end with them. That's why I
Sure.
Oh, and then you just
But the final scene of her
was bored.
just in the back of a truck, just screaming, laughing. And in the second one, spoilers, the final girl, she's on like the top of this weird mountain house. She has the chainsaw and she's just waving it in the air and screaming.
that's awesome.
It's everything I want to be. But it's this huge thing, and it's because horror is so like nuanced and truly like anything can be terrifying. Like you can make anything scary if it's a horror movie. It lends like a lot of visibility to women, and specifically their experiences with like their bodies or like the society surrounding them, and how that can be horrifying and how they interact with it, which I love. It's huge representation.
And I feel like that's a lot. That's so much deeper than I think people realize. when they
Yes.
watch it.
Yes, I feel like people shit on horror so much, and it always makes me so mad. Like it's almost viewed the same way as like children's films. Like people just don't
They
take
don't-
it seriously.
Yeah. Like anything animated, people don't, and chick flicks.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
People just don't really take like romantic comedies seriously either. And that's why like you could get into the whole thing about films and like the mid-budget kind of dying because of like people not taking medium budget romantic comedies, horror films, like that entire section of film seriously enough. It's like either it's a blockbuster or it's an indie like
It's
Mhm.
it's interesting though because I feel like when you tell people you like rom-coms or you like kids movies, there's not as much of a visceral reaction of when I tell people I like horror movies, they're either so down or they're like they look at me like I'm gross and fucking weird.
Yeah, because a lot of people, I think, just think of the really gory ones. Like, I know my mom hates horror because of the gore. She's like, I can't watch it that gore. Your father is just so crazy the way he watches all that gory stuff.
I know it's because you're kind of like, what's wrong with you that you are choosing that? That's what you prefer.
Yes.
I think the reason I've always had, I don't know, kind of I don't know, what I've not always leaned towards horror a lot is because sometimes I don't think they're very well written. I know, but that's more like people who want to scare the audience, not people who like writers who come forward and they have something within themselves, like some deeper trauma or some way that they look at themselves that they hate, and then they turn that into horror. You know, like kind of like what you were saying about the sexuality and women. I mean, and Pearl and Maxine,
Ugh.
like those clearly rooted from someone who really wanted
Yeah.
to tell a story about themselves and how they feel about, you know, women in general and things like that.
I think it can be like important to pay attention to like the true purpose or like the initial purpose of why a movie was written.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that can also get in the way of our perception of it a lot because I feel like we kind of fall into we'll like a movie sometimes and then we'll learn it was written by a man sometimes. We're like, oh fuck,
Mm-hmm.
because it makes a lot of stuff weird. However,
Mhm.
especially with horror, like I feel like there's this big thing of like if a man writes a horror film, he's just like trying to be gross. But
Yeah,
and that
or
can
just, like-
be the case. But I think it's really important to like look for the unintentional power that women have in all circumstances that can like really cut through any plot of the film, like especially horror. Like something doesn't have to be explicitly feminist or empowering
Mhm.
for it to be that. And I also love it when you find like an empowering meaning behind a movie and the director's like pissed about it.
Yeah.
It's like, huh,
That is funny.
You made women powerful, idiot.
That is
Mhm.
funny. Yeah,
I
I think
You're completely correct. Yeah.
yeah, I think that sometimes the queasy, icky feeling about like knowing a man wrote certain films is it feels like he's just trying to torture the woman in the film. And it's like he's getting off on torturing the woman as she is like getting killed in a certain way or getting like or going through all these trials and tribulations in a certain way. Like it feels like torture porn in a sense, and
Mhm.
it feels sexualized in like the male gaze sort of way. And I
Yeah.
think that's why it gets a little like
I think a lot of the turmoil here comes from specifically how men perceive horror. Like they're ecstatic to go see a movie where they can see a girl with her tits out and then also watch her be brutally killed.
yeah.
Um,
Ew.
it's something. If something's like horrifying towards women is written by a man, it's horror. It can seem acceptable, and I do think that that's a problem. But I think you have to look for the nuances, and I especially love reading like actress interviews. Like one of my favorite examples of this because it's so like viscerally violent and gory. Like I'm very seasoned and I had to watch this scene like this. It's in Terrifier. I don't know if you guys have seen
I
it.
know what you're
Mhm.
talking about.
I think
though.
you've mentioned it a few times because you're like, it was even gross for me.
Yeah, where she's pinned up.
So I don't know how much I can describe it, I suppose.
Well, what about it was scary to you? It was just a lot. It was sexual violence. It was
both the sexual violence and like horror's a genre of film where you aren't given the luxury of looking away.
Mm-hmm.
You are sometimes like there's some off-screen kills, like brutality and violence in most forms is shown really up close, and they didn't cut away like once. Like it was
Mhm.
like close-ups instead of cutting away, which
makes it feel even more real.
because it's
You
like
don't get a
there
break.
aren't cuts in real life. You're
Yeah.
just looking at it. But
Yeah.
and so many people are horrified by that scene and use it as a big example of like this is torture porn. This guy wrote this and he's disgusting. But the actress that played her has a really good article. We'll link it into the description because I'm obsessed with it. The reason that her death in Terrifier holds such like it
You can just read the quote.
Such significance.
yeah, it's this is her quote. It's heavily rooted in reality. She's a character who openly embraces her sexuality, femininity, and freedom, and as a result, the brutality by which she's punished for said traits forces her to be horrifically vulnerable, highlighting the very physical essence of what makes her female. The visceral, gut-wrenching, bone-chilling emotions evoked when watching her death scene don't lie in the fact that she's nude, they lie in the mercilessness of stripping someone of their autonomy and personal power. So it's, as horrifying as it is, this feels weird to say, but it's kind of a means to an end, if that makes sense.
I think one of the biggest things that we talk about is ever since we started studying film, it's kind of, we realize that everything is a decision.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when we disagree with the decisions or when they're, I don't know, misogynistic or harmful.
Or they seem to be rooted in some sort of like patriarchal, misogynistic
Mhm.
ideal that maybe it goes unnoticed. Like I think a lot of people, have like hidden misogyny within themselves, internalized misogyny.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that sometimes it's hard to like discern, is this internalized misogyny or is this like normal?
Sure.
Like not misogynistic, just like regular.
Mhm. And also we feel that same way too because we're also looking like, expecting to be offended a little bit too, which
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so when we do feel offended, I was going to say that we start, like immediately, like you said, where we figure out the director's, even though we love the movie, we figure out the director's male, and then we start seeing things. I think it's because, like I said, I get mad because they make certain choices, and I'm like, hold on, this is a man choosing this for this actress. He's the one who wrote this scene where she's entirely naked when he could have given her clothes. But I think something that I'm starting to be more open to is that despite that, like the actresses have a lot of power and the
Mhm.
women on the
Mhm.
sets have a lot of power, and we can make our experiences our own. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I
Yeah.
think, and I love that this actress said that because
Mhm. It's-
despite like maybe his decision for doing it, because I don't know if he really
They-
went into depth when he wrote
Yeah.
it, but she took it and she was like,
She created something good out
reclaiming
of it.
her
Yes.
power,
Yeah.
which is a huge.
You
That's why there's a
Mhm.
final girl.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is she reclaims her power over the killer or what's being done to her, and
And-
I think people shy away from horror a lot because it's gross. It's gross.
Yeah. Which I had a comment on that from a filmmaking perspective.
Yeah.
That I love practical effects. And
Callie, I'm so glad you brought
It's the
this up.
one.
And I love that the horror genre is one of a genre that still uses practical effects instead of CGI.
Mhm.
Because like I love science fiction. I'm a huge science fiction nerd, and I like cannot find movies that I like because everything is just CGI
It's
worlds.
disgusting.
Like I want them to paint a backdrop and build a set.
I need a
like,
puppet.
Literally, like
You
I
know?
prefer it to look a little fake,
I
But
love you.
I wanted to like comment on like how gross horror is and how impressive the practical effects are because they don't
Mhm.
just like animate these people getting killed. They
Mm-mm.
build a mannequin and they like do blood sprays. Like it's all practical, and I do love that about the horror genre.
you haven't seen the new Alien?
I have not.
That's crazy. The whole thing is practical. I didn't realize. I didn't even enjoy.
Yeah.
I
haven't
Oh my
even-
god! I didn't really enjoy the movie that much. I think I watched it wrong. I'm gonna be so honest. I'll watch it again. But the
No.
whole thing's practical. I didn't realize. Which
It's
makes
T
me
is that
respect it so much.
perfect.
T is that I haven't seen any of them.
Ripley's my
That's-
favorite final girl.
I know.
Ripley is
I-
the one.
I've seen so many character studies on Ripley, so I know that she slays. But I
incredible.
also have not seen the
She's-
movie.
I love you, Sigourney Weaver, if you're watching. Also,
I, like,
my
don't even-
favorite final, actually, my real favorite final girl is Gizmo from Gremlins. Gizmo
You know
No,
what?
I have
slays.
Gremlins lore, but I'm not going to drop it in this episode.
Y'all gotta wait till Christmas.
Gizmo serves so hard, bro.
No, I'll
You
drop.
know who serves? Greta.
Anyway,
The gremlin.
did you know that
in the
if you have
next
sex in a
movie-
movie, you'll die?
Promise? Because my schedule just cleared up.
with the final girl trope, I love horror tropes so much. And another huge one is have sex and you die.
Have sex.
Yeah.
I mean, we all saw it in Scream, right? He was He was like, "Don't do that. You're gonna die." And they
Yeah.
literally, and then they tried to.
They literally died.
All I'm saying is, I'm so happy that he had sex and then he died. You know, she lived though.
That's a
Period.
huge part of like the have sex and you die thing is it stems from like how horror is at its core a social commentary. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
And because like they're typically watched the most by like teenagers, especially in like the horror renaissance of like slashers and things becoming that, commentary about their lives was put at the forefront. So like sex, drugs, like coming of age, all of that.
Alcohol.
Yeah, alcohol. The reason it's such like a popular trope is because it was for the most part such a universal experience and continues to be. Like if you have sex,
You will die. Literally from Mean Girls, have sex. You will get pregnant and you will die.
and you will die. Yeah, it's true. Which
Sounds like a win-win.
putting
No, I will get pregnant and the fetus will die.
All right, no, I'll just put that away.
putting such like a universal experience and making it something scary is terrifying. Because that's what it's supposed to
And
do.
I think it's so powerful. Like, sex is so powerful. Like, it's one of the one things all of us have a very strong opinion
Mhm,
about.
no matter what it
Mhm.
It
is.
drives us whether we want it to or not.
Especially as women, because it's just like with anything surrounding sex, like women are shamed more for it than men. And that presents itself in horror with that trope by them being killed for having sex,
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
which is the commentary in itself, honestly. But one of my
Mhm.
favorite examples is Scream, because it's the example of like the perfect final girl, perfect powerful woman in a film. Like Sydney Prescott gets past her past trauma of her mom being slashed, as well as the present trauma of being literally stalked by a killer. She outsmarts and kills them, and that's her reclamation of power. And the whole have sex you die thing, she has sex.
Mm-hmm.
And
She
doesn't
lives.
die.
She lives. She still manages to outwit the killer. And it didn't link like her virginity to the reason for her survival. It linked her intelligence to it.
It was
That's
like
why
she
that
could
movie so
get
good.
beyond it.
Because then
So good.
incels couldn't be like, well, the only reason she survived is because she didn't fuck.
Yeah.
Like, no, she fucked.
Not even
and
just
she
incels,
fucked.
but all of those. Yo.
And she wasn't the only woman in the movie to survive. Courtney Cox lived too.
Yeah.
I love Scream so much. And it's the
Mhm.
my favorite line of hers in that movie. There's so many, but like that really represents this is her going, "Not in my movie."
I love too that they used Drew Barrymore and they were like, come see the movie of Drew Barrymore. And then Drew Barrymore dies.
We need a whole episode about
Everyone was like,
Scream.
wait, hold
Oh
on.
my
There's
God.
there's a rest of the movie now?
Yeah, but this is something I really wanted to talk to you guys about, because with even if it's not explicitly sex in film, there's a term for a really integral part of most horror movies. It's this was kind of coined by Carol J. Clover, who's an American film professor.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the penetration scene.
I'm already so excited.
I'm sad.
It's when the victim locks herself in a house, a room, a closet, a car, and waits with pounding heart as the killer slashes, hacks, or drills his way in. It's commonly the pivotal moment. If the victim has up to now simply fled, she has at that point no choice but to fight back.
Here's
Great
Johnny.
example of this. The Shining. There's examples of it in
yeah.
Halloween. But that it's called the penetration scene is so gorgeous to me, because it's
Yeah.
like that's so scary.
The way you just have to sit there waiting to see
Uh-huh.
what you're gonna do. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't run. You can't
That's
hide. You
honestly,
have to
like,
fight back.
So relatable to penetration, you know?
No, for real. Scary.
Like, you got to do something
Yeah.
about it. You got to
No.
fight back.
No, penetration is scary.
See, relatable. You know what I mean? When it's
Relatable.
coming at you, you got to do something. You got to
You know, the
fight,
first-
flight. You got to
First time you get penetrated, it's terrifying.
It's,
an
it's
alien.
so scary. You're like, what do I do? Yeah, no, she gets it. Apparently, well, no, you get it. Anyway, so an alien.
I was just saying, speaking of alien, because penis looks like an alien. Because he'd be like, he'd be like, right?
And then I'd be like,
Am I right, lady? And I'd be like,
I'm
when he
scared.
whips it out, and you go,
and I'd be like, where? How do I open the vacuum to space right now? Yo, get sucked out. You know what I mean?
get sucked.
So we talked about Mean Girls earlier,
Yeah.
and I think another part of Mean Girls is the costume scene.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think this
is
ties into like femininity and Halloween and horror. Is like
greatly.
Katie shows up in her Bride of Frankenstein
Ex-wife.
ex-wife costume.
Uh-huh.
And all the other girls are like, ew,
Why are you so
why
scary?
are you so scary?
She's like, it's Halloween.
And
yeah.
and you know, like Karen being like, I'm a mouse.
Duh.
Duh. And she's
Duh.
just in ears and lingerie.
Not
you
even
know?
to mention the song in the Mean Girls musical.
The
I can
best
be
one.
who I wanna be and sexy. Like,
best one.
Honestly,
The best one.
Mean Girls the musical got too much hate.
I agree.
That's my
I
hot
second.
take of the episode.
I third.
I'd worth.
I think we should carry on though, because like we said what we
Halloween-
said.
Halloween has always been literally my everything, especially dressing up. And I saw Mean Girls pretty young, and I remember it being like the first example, specifically for Halloween, but maybe ever, of like dressing slutty.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's such an integral part of that for me, and I've always related more to Katie in the sense of like, I'm the girl in the room that was scary instead of sexy. And like for a while, especially as a teenager, I was like definitely not a girl's girl. I was not like other girls, like very anti-dressing slutty for Halloween.
Oh my God, same.
Because I felt like it was like making a joke out of my favorite holiday, or like at the very least like giving it a negative reputation.
Mhm.
Like I would be like, what are you guys gonna be? I remember like specifically men in my life being like, yeah, but they just use it as an excuse to like dress up like that. And so it was
Yeah.
like, it made people not like Halloween. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, then we can't do that. But I realize now it was all misogynistic bullshit that I was
'Cause-
being fed by people in the media.
Because there's this dichotomy that they like, it's memed to death. Is like, there's two types of girls on Halloween, and it's like the girl in like a regular costume or a scary costume, and like the girl wearing a bra.
Ever heard of Nuance?
I'm literally so sorry, but there's only 2 guy versions of Halloween. And it's
Mhm.
1, a t-shirt that says, this is my costume. And then 2, like a really sick, gory costume. No, there's 3
No.
guys. And then 3, them in an anime costume. There we go.
No,
Them in
I feel like
cosplay.
they're either in that like they're in the Scream mask, they're like in a mask and a
Hot.
cloak.
Sorry.
They're in a mask and a cloak, and that's like
wish.
all they wear. They wear a t-shirt. This is my costume, or yeah, they're like in
Or they wear
They
something.
go to the store.
They wear some sports jersey and they're like, I'm Travis Kelce.
yeah.
That's the this is my costume thing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that. So
But
it's I mean, if we want to strip things down to that, it's absolutely possible. And I think they've
Mhm.
used that to their advantage to
Mhm.
try to make us feel bad about our choices. Because what's the middle of that? I can be sexy and covered in blood and they'll still be like,
Yes!
you whore. Like,
And
Yeah.
it's now that I'm like coming to my own, especially like with my sexuality, I'm realizing it's just as fun as dressing up in any other form. Like, it's fun to look sexy and feel sexy, and if I can do it covered in blood, oh my God, like
so
dream
sorry,
come
but
true.
everyone wins.
If I-
I'm so sorry, but you're welcome.
We get to see you sexy and covered in blood.
I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
but you're sexy and then you also have a
No, when
costume
I-
on.
reminds me of
Oops.
this meme.
Go on.
Reminds me of this meme I saw, and it was like, men are sexy when they're covered in their own blood, and women are sexy when they're covered in someone else's.
Hey. Looks like
Yeah.
a perfect problem solved right
Yeah.
there.
It's just
Yeah.
because like when I was in my Carrie costume, which I've literally never felt more beautiful.
Insert here.
Yeah, people
No, I have
kept
pictures.
people kept coming up to me and being like, "You look so good right now. Like, you should just always be covered in blood." And I was like, if I could, I would. It's like I already feel scary most of the time, but like when I can feel sexy too,
No,
Mm.
it's like
I remember I put like blood on my fingers for that party, and I remember
Yeah.
also feeling just a little
Powerful.
bit sexy.
Powerful.
Yeah, like
powerful.
because I was a siren and I put blood on my
Ugh.
hands because I had like, just
I
feasted.
think there's a piece of us too that's like, I don't know, maybe naturally comfortable in blood.
Oh.
Like I have no problem with. I know that some people do get queasy with it, but
I've-
like I don't care.
Bro,
Like,
I'm also very a queasy person.
one of my favorite movies is The Worst Person in the World. It's like the
Oh.
Swedish film, and she takes her period blood and she smears it on her face, and I'm like, I do that. I'm like, hey,
No, I think if I ever did trip on acid like she was, and I was on my period, I probably
Yeah.
would start playing in my own period blood, which is disgusting, but also iconic.
it is gross, but I'll take a shower after. You know what I mean?
Literally.
There's like some point of it where it's not
no, it's
super crazy. It's not anything.
my
that it-
favorite examples of things like that are Carrie, and there's this movie called Ginger Snaps that we need to watch together. It's like a coming of age werewolf movie, and so movies like that where it's like
I love
how
when
being a
werewolves come
woman and
to age.
having
I love it when werewolves come to age. Like that's all we ever watch. We never see them in like their elder years. They're always like coming
or when
to.
they're
because
babies.
they get murdered.
It's the most interesting part now is them like
Think
transforming.
of the werewolf murder rate. Sad. We need to save them.
Honestly, they're
Yeah.
an endangered species.
Honestly, that's what we need to talk about more.
No, I
is
agree.
how many werewolves are getting killed on a regular basis.
But,
Anyway,
like-
so join our GoFundMe. We're gonna raise awareness for werewolves
Like-
this month.
Commentary on how being a woman and having a body is horrifying, and it's dramatized in a way that feels like just an inch from reality. Like, yeah, I didn't get like supernatural powers or turn into a werewolf, but like the way we change and are ostracized for it is so real.
The way we have no control
At
either,
all.
and
there's,
yet are still
there's-
punished for it.
There's also not a lot of education surrounding it. Like Carrie didn't know what it was,
Mm-hmm.
and so she freaked out. And then in Ginger Snaps, she gets bit by a werewolf, and she goes to the school nurse, and she's like, "I'm having these weird body changes," and the nurse is like, "That's so normal," but she's like growing a tail. And then she's like, there was like a lot of blood, and it's because she's turning into a werewolf. And the nurse was like, "It's shocking, isn't it?"
That is
This
so
is all
rooted in
normal.
reality. That is so
Yes.
accurate.
It's such a good movie, but it's
Yeah. I remember the first thing I learned about my period actually was that, you know what? My mom was like, a lot of girls, like the book she was reading me was like, a lot of girls think that they're dying because it's a lot of blood.
So
It's going to be a surprising amount.
just
Yeah.
get used to being okay with being on the edge of death.
no, literally.
It's very
Mhm.
normal.
You're going to stand up and you're going to feel really lightheaded like for a whole week every month.
You think
More than usual.
you feel like you're paralyzed, just give it pop an
Just
ibuprofen.
Just have some iron, just have some
iron.
chocolate, have some steak.
Some steak.
Ooh,
Your weakness.
very werewolf.
I know.
Very werewolf.
Wolf. Your
Yeah.
weakness of meat.
Do you guys know what you're gonna be for Halloween this year? Okay. I've known
No.
since I narrowed it down from 46 options. That's not a joke.
You're so
Check my
brave.
Pinterest. And so I want to talk about the sexy costumes that I have planned.
Okay.
This one's going to be probably next year, but I've always wanted to be the sexorcist, where I'm just in lingerie, but I have the exorcist makeup and vomit all over me.
Why wait till next year?
Yeah,
I
why-
have some free time next month. Actually.
Don't we have a
if
party
we-
coming up that we just were talking
Well, no,
about?
because this year I want to be sexy Leatherface.
Oh,
there's
Well,
that
we're having
scene-
more than one party.
Well, I know, but I have other costumes. Because I'm
Oh,
going to be
right.
a rodeo clown and sexy Leatherface, and then either Pearl or Maxine or both. And then I kind of want to be this drag queen Juno Birch, who's like, her whole thing is that she's like an alien that crash
Yes,
landed,
I
and
know
she's
exactly.
pretending
She's
to be
pink,
a woman.
right?
Yeah.
My thing is like, I don't know. I haven't repented in a long time, so I might be possessed, and I think the sexorcist can come take a visit
Sure.
whenever she's free.
Well, I have one costume planned, and it's not sexy in that all my skin is showing. It's sexy in its vibe.
It's sexy in that like.
It's sexy in the vibe.
Like, be prepared to be turned on when
Yeah,
she says it.
like,
Honestly, sexy.
I'm
in
not
the
gonna
fact that
say
it's
it.
a
I'm
sex
actually gonna
icon.
keep it as a
Oh.
surprise.
What? You can't just ramp it up and then not explain.
Blue balls, bro.
like purple.
Oh. Bloody,
Okay,
bloody balls.
fine.
Call the
Damn.
doctor. Go on. Peer pressure.
Peer
work.
pressure me. I'm gonna be the one slur.
What a sex icon. Oh.
But that's the only costume idea I have.
How bad can you be?
Anyway,
This is the horror
I might
episode.
I'm probably gonna rewear my siren costume because it kind of slayed and I feel like I didn't give
No.
it enough of a moment.
The way that you didn't get any photos in it is
Yeah,
You
exactly.
got one where you're like,
Yeah, I got one where I'm eating a brain, but that's it.
yeah.
So I want more pictures in that costume, so I'm gonna have to redo it.
So what else are you gonna be for Halloween?
I'm going to be sexy Leatherface, which I'm so excited for because everyone's like, how are you going to do that?
Listen. Oh, tutorial DIY. Go ahead.
So, an epiphany.
I had a costume idea on the spot,
Okay.
but you can continue and then I'll go.
I will.
And I'll wait. And I'll be here.
Oh, wait. So, I'm probably going to have like some clothes under it, but basically just.
I mean. Sorry. Okay, so you're gonna have some clothes.
like some clothes under it, but mostly just like the bloody, icky apron.
Mhm.
And then it's going to be the Leatherface where he rips the woman's face on and then puts makeup on it. So it's going to be like, I'm going to do like, make it look like with practical
Staples.
effects. make it look like I'm wearing someone else's face, which is super easy, just like liquid latex
And
some
not
staples and
xanthan
stuff.
gum.
And then
Not xanthan gum.
then just cunty blue eyeshadow and the blush. I'm so excited.
Could you imagine getting your face ripped off, stapled on someone else's, and they go, let's cover that up. Ooh, maybe a little.
They're like, did she have rosacea? Like, damn.
Damn, she could use a little concealer there. Those eye bags go crazy.
Oh, literally. Thank you so much for having me here. This is my favorite thing to talk about in the whole world, and I could do it forever and ever and ever.
Can we explain the blue eyeshadow?
Yeah, we're
How
all in
much
blue.
time do we
We're
have?
serving
We're
Luke's.
all-
We're serving Luke's, and we haven't even explained why. Besides
Yeah.
the
So-
obvious is that just because we always do.
I'm currently writing a video essay about the importance of blue eyeshadow, specifically in media and in horror media. So when that comes out, it's going to be like an hour long because I can't talk about
Mhm.
that all here. But basically, blue is one of the most unnatural colors. And so for women to wear it is like you're wearing makeup. And it's really powerful in horror because
It's a choice.
It's such a choice. And so I wear blue eyeshadow every single day. And you guys wanted to look hot as well. So
I've wanted to for a long time, and I didn't think I could achieve it.
Finally.
And then today came, and
If
here
you're
I
so
am.
you're saying I only look hot if I wear eyeshadow?
Yeah. I'm saying anyone that puts on blue eyeshadow is immediately hot. If you're
Mm.
out there and you're like, I can't pull off blue eyeshadow. Yes,
Lies.
you can. Yes, you fucking can.
Find your right shade.
Whether it's a cream, whether it's a glitter.
Mine's a cheap palette from Walmart.
Yeah.
Whether it's a cheap palette from Walmart. I
I
think
don't know.
too.
It's just-
I,
I don't.
so
I don't.
bold.
I never liked it.
Bold.
I never liked it with my eye color because I have green eyes, and I feel like it just
Mhm.
looks weird.
It doesn't.
It's a
Like
lie.
it looks like a like a landscape painting.
Yeah, and those are so
Yeah,
ugly.
Those are the ugliest.
But it looks
kind
weird on my
forms of art.
face. Also, blue is just not my color.
Hey, if you're fishing, it's working because
I'm
you look
not
great. It's
fishing.
bringing out the green in your eyes.
I really don't wear blue eyeshadow unless it's like for a character. I wore it for Barbie because she wears blue eyeshadow.
Exactly, because it's such a choice. She's like, everyone look at me, and I look so good, and I'm
It's because she has
confident and I'm
blue
proud
eyes,
of it.
and blue eyes and blue eyeshadow look great together.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, blue-eyed bitches.
First of all, if you're
That's-
jealous, just say
sorry.
so.
I'm not. I have green eyes. I love having green eyes.
I would kill for green eyes.
Another,
so
if you
cool.
guys ever need another Halloween costume idea, Mattel from 1997 to 2014 released a Halloween Barbie every year,
Mm.
and they're all perfect. So
I was thinking of being sexy Jennifer Coolidge from Legally Blonde.
I'm gonna cry.
I've told so many people that, and their reaction is so mediocre that I'm reconsidering.
No,
I'm
I
like-
love it.
Because she does a little
I'm
ponytail,
taking
and
the
then she has a little
jog.
dumbass. She got a little bang, and then she
I
got
like-
a little jean jacket, and
I'm-
she's still in her skirt.
I'm speechless because that's so iconic that it honestly makes me a little emotional.
I'm so glad you.
You
think
just have to do
so.
the voice all night, which isn't a problem for
Ah.
us.
I think I'll
It's-
start.
Callie will walk
now.
in and we'll just be talking to each other like that. I'm like, "What are you doing
Jennifer,
today?
you look so good.
You look gorgeous."
Oh, has anyone got hot dogs at this party? Oh, is this where we end the bit? Callie's. Oh no, it's okay. Let's save her. I'm back.
Callie, you
I
try.
don't know what just happened. It's crazy.
Callie, you try.
I already did it once.
I
do
just
it.
went somewhere.
Yeah.
It was
I,
really
I
dark.
can't do anything on the spot. I have stage fright.
Hold on. What? Does this change anything?
Say you're taking the dog, dumbass.
Okay.
I'd rather die.
She's final girl material. She can't even
No,
say I'm
she's
taking
not.
the dog,
She's not
dumbass.
final material because she literally went, I'd rather die.
Literally, that's my greatest weakness. I can't do shit on the spot because I have such crippling stage fright.
Not even a little jig. Go.
No.
Oh, I know you can do a little jig on
I
the
can
spot.
I can do a little jig, but not on the spot. It has to happen.
I can do a little jig on the spot. Wow.
No, keep saying meat is my greatest weakness because it's definitely not my stage fright.
Yeah, we can't reveal that, actually.
We need to put her on stage and throw meat at her. Like tomatoes.
Why do you not us?
me?
Roast
You would
beef.
be the murderer, wouldn't
Ham.
you?
Not the roast beef.
I would be the murderer because you know why?
Just one to throw at her is roast beef.
Have you seen that tweet where it's like the first person to throw a tomato must have been fed up?
Where did they get it? Why a whole one? That produce is expensive. Okay.
Literally.
Well,
Anyway.
now that we know how to torture Callie, we know what I'm doing with the rest of my day.
Yeah.
Actually, no, we should
Gotta
like,
go buy some meat.
So I
Roast
gotta
beef
mix
in
the other
particular.
podcast. Why would you?
Motivation.
You're right. We'll
I
wait.
already have torture.
She's procrastinating a little bit. We just slap some bologna on her.
We'll wait.
not. Are you kidding me? The worst meat.
I'm gonna
love
be in the
bologna.
office with you, and you're not gonna be editing, and I'm gonna wave it. I'm gonna be like, Callie, why
Literally
aren't
any
you-"
lunch meat, and I'll just go.
Wow.
Lunch meat is literally.
Love that
the worst.
sound that you just did, and love that. That's so good for so
I'm gonna
many-
love that for editing.
Everyone's gonna love that. That's not my
I'll
department.
cut it.
But oh my gosh, this is exciting. This is the first part of our Halloween series. We have 2 more until the end of the
Mhm.
month.
Yep.
Next
Just for the
week, we're
month.
gonna talk about spooky, scary skeletons and shit.
Yeah, you should be excited for next week.
I'm gonna tell scary, spooky stories. Thank you for being
I'm
here,
gonna piss my
Skyler.
pants.
How do you feel about season 2? You hyped?
I'm so hyped. I have to catch
Yo.
up.
Yeah, you do. Fake fan.
Big fan. Yeah, the way that you haven't watched any of this, the way you were
I'll
like,
watch this one.
Because you're in it, Miss Leo.
No, that's outing me.
outing. Okay, we better go before you out me. Don't you dare say it. Okay, I'll see you guys next week, guys.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Get your costumes ready. Don't be a square, okay?
Yeah,
If you
for
don't wear a
real.
costume, you deserve to
You're
die.
dead to me. I will be the killer.
Boo. Okay.
Bye.